And so 2010s when the first book comes out, was that The Legend of the Lady Slipper, or have I got the order wrong?
Yeah, I think that was the first one. Here it is. If, now that all the books are going to fall over now. That one. And so, yeah, it's kind of a funny story because this is originally Lisa and I were going to write a big fat book about trees. Not a nonfiction book about trees, but a collection of tales, fairy tales and folk tales about how different trees came to be, or why they are the way they are, or why the leaves change color, or why the birch has black stripes and things like that. And then we would have information about the trees as well. So we were compiling what would have been this tome, and we wrote on the letter to the editor, we just scrawled on the bottom that we had just found a beautiful little, it was just the tiniest little paragraph of a tale about the lady slipper in one of the books we'd been looking at, and that we thought it would be fun once we were done with the big tree book that we would do one about wildflowers. But our editor really just only wanted that one about the lady slipper, and so that became this book.
So what's the path that gets you to that debut novel? Did you have an agent at that point?
I did have an agent, but she didn't sell Heart of a Samurai. What happened was I was at an SCBWI conference in Minneapolis, and I was listening to an agent talk. His name is Stephen Fraser, and I just loved what he had to say, and I had an affinity. I had a warm feeling about, like friendly, like he seemed like he would be nice. And so I raised my hand and I said, what happens if you already have an agent, but maybe you want a different one? And he said, oh, that happens all the time. Don't worry about that. It's business, it's business. And so I sent him the first page of Heart of a Samurai and a postcard that's on the back said, I would like to read more, and a little checkbox. No thanks, and a little checkbox. This is back when we used to send things in the mail. Remember that?
Unfortunately, all too well. And all the little self-addressed stamped envelopes that came back as well.
Yeah. So anyway, he sent the postcard back with the check. I would like to read more, and so then he became my agent, and he sold Heart of a Samurai. It didn't take him very long. So that's how that happened. Kind of okay. A little interesting side story. I think it's interesting. An agent or an editor at FSG had expressed interest in the book, but she didn't want anything that wasn't actually true. That didn't actually happen, and so I had to take out all the bullies because I made those up. Because I couldn't find anything historically that said that this or that person had been a bully or, had treated my character in Heart of a Samurai badly. And so I took all that out and sent it back, and she said, well, it just doesn't have enough conflict. And so
pound your head straight through the desk.
Anyway, that didn't really go anywhere. So when Steve sent it to my editor, the editor who took it at Abrams, Amulet Books at Abrams, he said, what this story needs are some bullies. And so I stuck them back in like that. I just put those chapters back in and sent it off. And afterwards, I realized, he's going to think I write really, really fast. Like, I finally had to confess to him, I already had those parts done. All I had to do was, kind of put them back in and rearrange or massage everything, as my husband would say. He builds things and he says, we'll just massage this. I was like, how do you, it just doesn't seem to fit with building things. But anyway, so I had to kind of piece that back together and send it out. And then he took it.
Stephen Fraser immediately recognized the brilliance of the work and said, this will definitely go on to be a Newbery Honor. Let's do this.
I don't know. I don't think any of us saw that coming. I didn't, that's for sure.
Well, did you have, I'm assuming you had some sort of feelings toward the book, that obviously you were proud of it. You must have thought that it was destined for some kind of greatness, or do you go the opposite way?
No, I did not think anyone was going to read it. That was the first thing. I seriously, I thought nobody's going to read this book. You know, it's just oddball kid. I don't know. I just didn't. And I actually hoped that no Japanese person would ever read it, because I was petrified that it would be, you know, wrong somehow. And
obviously you got over that before you went to Japan and were
doing well, that was while I was writing it. But then I have a very good friend who's Japanese who lived across the street with me, and she read everything. She gave me lots of good advice. And then before it was published, I went to Japan. I went to where he was born. I talked to a lot of people. And so, you know, by the time it was published, it had been pretty well vetted, you know, and I felt pretty solid, like it was solid. And, but I didn't think it was gonna, no, in fact, I didn't even start writing another book, because I just thought, you know, nobody's gonna read it and I'm not gonna ever get another contract. So back to theater. I don't know what I thought I was going to do, but yeah, no. And the other thing is, I totally did not see the Newbery Honor coming at all. That was also back in the day before all the Newbery mock Newberries and social media and all the blogging and the chit chat about who's going to win. It just didn't happen. Or if it did, I was completely oblivious to it. So
well, that sounds like a better world.
It actually, yeah, I think it is. I mean, I think it's hard. It's hard to have the buzz, and that kind of heightens an anxiety. You know, I don't know, just makes one a little more aware of that. I mean, the obliviousness was lovely. I'll just say that.
So you who are about to go on to greatness, but are thinking that you're going to go back and maybe just do theater and forget about writing for a while, let us live vicariously through you, because this is something that I enjoy, and I like to provide this for esteemed audience. So we all want to know, what is that feeling? Take us through getting to the point of being a Newbery Honor, and what is that experience?
Well, I would say, you know, it is amazing. To have that affirmation, especially because I was convinced that it was just kind of I had written it, but it was nothing special, and lots of other much better books out there. And to have the affirmation that I had written something good it really did change the way I looked at myself as a writer. I could take myself seriously, and I could say, well, I guess maybe I do know what I'm doing, sort of, some of the time. It still doesn't feel that way, though, when I'm writing, I'll tell you. And of course, it was a great boon in terms of publishing. So, you know, my publisher offered me another contract without me having written anything.
Well, sure, they'd be fools not to.